just sitting here thinking, okay, I'm not going to go live because I'm just going to drive to school and I'm going to just, think. And the gorgeous scenery is just amazing. So this morning it is 47 degrees in New Hampshire, and I was thinking everything looks brown. It's just really not something I want to videotape. But as you can see in my background here, it is brown, but the sun is coming through the trees in a unique way, and it looks so pretty. Of course, we did the fallback, so it's an hour later than it says on the clock. So the clock says 7 o'clock, 7:15, but it's actually kind of like 8:15. So I'm gonna switch this around. Look at that. The sun is coming through the trees. It is so pretty this morning. So you can see there's a little bit of green and lots of brown. But it is really pretty in its own way. So I'm at a stop sign right now, as you can see. So setting this back up. Nobody's behind me. So yeah, this is my morning drive. It's not majorly full of traffic. It's kind of nice. Nice quiet drive. The earlier I get out, the better. I try to get out by 7 o'clock, but it doesn't always happen. Today is Tuesday, so yesterday was Veterans Day. I hope you all had a great Veterans Day, and I'm thankful for the veterans. My father was a veteran. He was in the National Guard. He was drafted into the National Guard, and he didn't have a lot of stories to tell because he went to basic training and everything like that, but then it turned out that he didn't have to go. I think he was gonna go to Korea. I think that's he was preparing for. So I didn't really hear that much about him and his heroism as a veteran. Sometimes my mom would talk about going to basic training because she ended up moving down there with him for a little while, and she had my brother who was just a baby, and I can't imagine how that would be, being that young. My parents were 19 when they got married, and then they had a baby right away, and then they were drafted. That's a lot. I don't know how all that would go if that had been me. But my father didn't talk a lot about it. But my mother, she'd say things here and there about the experience. But when my father passed away, he had decided that he would be buried in the Veterans Cemetery up north. And it's about 45 minutes from my house. It's a beautiful place. And he had it all set up before he died suddenly. He was fine one day and gone the next. He just fell asleep in his chair and he was gone. And this was about, I don't even know how many years ago. I think it's like 14 years ago, but it's hard for me to keep track of years. But he's in the, it seems like just yesterday. He was the best dad ever. And so he's in Boscawen, and when they had we had a memorial service at the church he went to, and when we had the internment at the cemetery, I was blown away. I was totally blown away. That was when I didn't have it on video, so I don't have it on video, but they found someone that knew my dad, and they had a little story to tell when they folded the flag and they gave it to us, and they said, thank you for your service. And the cemetery plot and everything is all expenses paid by the military. I was gonna say free, but nothing's really free these days, is it? So it's free to the veterans, but of course we had to pay for the casket and all of those things. But the cemetery plot is available for veterans and their wives. So my mother has her spot there as well, although she's still alive. And so I think that is really special that they do for the military veterans funerals. So I know my dad was a veteran. My brother was a veteran. He was in the Air Force, and he's not one to talk about it either. He kind of went to college, and then he went into the Air Force. He didn't end up in the combat time, but active duty, I guess you'd say, but he served in the Air Force overseas. He lived in England, and he was able to explore a lot of places over there, but he didn't really like it as much as he likes this country. And so he was there for a few years, and then came back into our country. And then my son, he joined the Army. He joined the Army right out of college, and he was down in South Carolina when he signed up, and he went to Georgia and Texas, and he was able to go overseas. He lived in Egypt, and he did some kind of manned a post or something in Egypt. I'm not sure exactly all of the details on that, but he was an Army guy. He loved military service. He loved serving our country, and it's really hard for him to get back into the general life. He really loved the atmosphere of the military, like the brotherhood and having a really important purpose, that kind of thing. So I thank everyone who has given their lives to some sort of service in our country. I did not go into the military. I went into college, and I don't know. Knowing what I know now, I think it's good for young people to go into the service. Although I think that there's good parts and bad parts about it. If you want to go into the service, you have to be an individual, stand your ground, and don't be pulled in with the negative parts of it. I think that one thing that's hard is the drinking aspect of the community, like what do they do in their free time? And I'm not sure how that would go, not being a person who drinks alcohol, but I think it would be good if you don't. I've heard people say they couldn't do the job without it. I don't know, because I haven't been there, so I'm not going to judge. But I have seen some negative parts of the military that I don't know. Way back then I thought maybe I couldn't handle it, so I didn't. But I worked hard, so then now looking back, I'm like, maybe I worked hard enough. Maybe I could have been tough enough for it. I don't know. But I guess I'm a little bit of a wimp in some ways, because when I was in 8th grade, I asked my dad to get me out of the public school, and he did. And then when I got to a better school, I was able to thrive as a human being, and I was able to learn, and I did work hard. I just didn't have all of the opposition from negative peer pressure and all that. So I don't know if I feel like that made me a better person where I went, and I'm glad for it. I don't have any regrets in that way. But here I am, elected as state representative for New Hampshire, and I'm going to be going into the realm of opposition, basically. So I don't know. I think maybe I've been prepared all these years for this experience, but I was asked to do it, and I said, You know, I said, well, what would stop me? Well, I do have a job, so I'm going to have to juggle both of those things, and I can get a substitute for my job for the days that I'll be out, and we'll just see how it goes. It's something I just didn't want to pass up. So here we go. So thank you for watching anyway this morning, and I hope you have a great day. It looks like a beautiful sunny day in New Hampshire. It's 48 degrees, and it's going to get warmer today. So I have layers. I have a sweater because I have to stand outside to greet people in the morning, and then later on in the day I have this coat underneath. It's kind of a light coat, and then if it really gets warm, I have just this shirt I could wear. So that's what we do in New Hampshire. We do layers this time of year because you don't really know how the weather's going to be. And I do need to buy an umbrella because the other day it rained. I didn't have one of my 3 umbrellas. I lost them all. So we're going to do that coming up. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.